Hi, in this lesson we're going to be looking at scatter graphs. Now, scatter graphs are a type of graph that looks at the relationship between two different subjects. If there is a relationship between the two different subjects, then they can also be used to make estimations for data that you may not have information on. Now, in scatter graphs, they use this word correlation, which describes the relationships between the two different subjects. So you can have a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or maybe there is no correlation at all. So if you plot your graph, or maybe they've already given you a graph with the plots already done, if they take this sort of shape as you can see here, okay, where the plots are going up in that direction, then we would say it has a positive correlation. Now what that means is as the one subject increases, so does the other. So a general example of this would be the hours spent revising and test scores. So obviously what we would expect to see is the more hours that people spend revising, the better their test score. Now a negative correlation will look like this. Okay, so the plots are going downwards. So what this means is as the one subject increases, the other subject decreases. Now a classic example of this is cars. The older the car gets, so as their age gets bigger then, the value of the car actually lowers. Now if this scatter plots all over the place like that, then we say that there is no correlation. There is just no relationship between the two subjects at all. So now we're going to have a little look at an example. So this one is looking at plumbers and what they charge for different jobs based on the hours that they've worked. So you've got the information here, okay, so you can see one job, they only worked 1 hour and they charged £60. In the next job, they worked 2 hours and they charged £80. In the third job, they worked 3 hours and they charged £104, and so on. So the first thing they're asking us to do is plot this data on the scatter graph below. Now I'm going to use a pen for this. You would normally use a pencil. I'm only using a pen to make sure that it shows clearly on the video. So as well, just always check your axes before you start. So the number of hours is on the x-axis here, and then obviously the charge is on the y-axis. So the first one is 1 and 60. So I'll go to 1 hour and up to 60 and put my plot there. Now the plots do have to be accurate. They do need to be on the cross of those lines. If they're slightly out, you can lose marks at GCSE level for that. Okay, the second one, and I'm going to tick that off as well just so that I don't miss any. The second one is 2 hours and they charged £80. So I'm going to go to 2 hours here and go up to 80. Tick it off. Okay, the next one is 3 hours and £104 is what they charged. So I'll go to 3 here and 100 is there, but I need 104. So now you've got to pay attention to your scale. Now, it's going up in 20s and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares between it. So to work out your scale, you say, well, it's going up in 20s. That's shared between 5 squares, which means that every square is worth £4. So going back to my graph, now I'm aware of my scale. 3, there's 100, so 104 is going to be there, and it does need to be accurate. Okay, they did another job now of 3 hours, but this time it's £116. So again, I go to 3, there's 100, so that's 104, 108, 112, 116. Okay, the next one, they did 5 hours and they charged £128. So I'm going to go to 5 and go up to 120, which is there. And then I know again that each square is worth 4, so that's 124, so that's 128. Okay, last two, both 6 hours. On the first one, they charged £140. So go to 6 here and go up to 140. And then you've got another 6-hour job at £160. So that's your 2 marks for all your plots done. Next question now, they say describe the correlation. So we can see that our plots are going up in this direction. So when we look back at these, which is a positive correlation. So that's all you need to put is a positive correlation. which makes sense. The more hours they work, the more money they're going to earn. Okay, now it says draw the line of best fit on the scatter graph. So we need to go back to your scatter graph, and using a ruler we have to draw a line of best fit. Now a line of best fit has to go through the centre of those scatter points as best as possible. Okay, so I'm trying to go through the middle as best as I can, and then draw a nice long line. And as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3 on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side of the line, so that's good. Okay, so going back now to this, okay, so I would have got 1 mark for drawing my line of best fit. And then it says, using your line of best fit, estimate the charge for a 4-hour job. Now, what we're seeing more and more is that they don't ask you to draw a line of best fit, but they do ask you to make estimations. Now, if this ever happens in a question, you have to draw a line of best fit to make an estimation. So if they don't ask you to draw a line of best fit, but you're still asked to make estimations, you have to take it upon yourself to draw that line of best fit. So let's go back to the graph now. So let's have a look at 4 hours. So we go to 4 hours here, we read up until we hit our line of best fit, and then go across, which is £120. So that's my answer to that question. And then they'll sometimes add on these extra sort of general questions, okay, where it says here, explain why it might not be appropriate to use your line of best fit to estimate the charge for a job that is lasting 12 hours. Now, looking at our graph, it only goes up to 9 hours. So what we would say here is that making an estimate for 12 hours is beyond the data that we have. So we would say it is unreliable. Okay, and that's it. Thanks for watching.